Hello friends, welcome to Alex Syberia Designs video hop celebrating the August release. Be sure to hop along with us and leave a comment to be entered into a great giveaway. My cards feature Hog Happy Day. Now honestly, is there anything cuter? They are just the most adorable little piggies ever. And when pigs come to mind, I think pink, so perfect. This is one of my favorite colors to work with. This is a great stamp set with lots of pigs in various positions, sentiments, and of course, cute elements. I'll be Copic coloring, so I have stamped the images in Memento ink, which is Copic friendly. The last thing that I want is for the black ink to bleed when working with these alcohol markers. To get crisp black lines, the images have been stamped twice. These pigs will be performing their acrobatic antics over a bed of flowers, just in case one falls. I've chosen some of the smaller flowers and leaves from a new set called Andalusia Wildflowers. This is a big and gorgeous die set. I'm working with a combination of cream, lilac, soft pink, and spring green cardstock. I'm using several pigs in these 3 cards, and they'll all be colored in the same color combination and in the same manner. At the base of the pig, I start with my dark tone, which is the RV52, and then onto the mid-tone RV00, and finally the light tone RV000. This ink combination blends beautifully, and I only need 1 coat. Absolutely adore all the pigs, but I have to say I have a favorite, and it's the fairy pig. This one has been included in all 3 cards, and the wings are colored with BG01 and 000. The star on the wand is colored with Y11. This is quick and easy coloring. I'll be using the coordinating dies to cut everything out. They're lined up on the images and the sentiments, and I'm using some low-tack tape to hold everything in place so that they don't slip as they go through the die cutter. All of Alex Syberia Designs coordinating dies fit very close to the outside edges of the elements and sentiments, so you end up with a very fine white line, which I really like. So before I start assembling this card, I'm first going to lay everything out. This will give me an idea of how everything is going to fit together. This step just helps save some time as the card is being pulled together. I'll start off by popping up these balancing pigs using large foam squares. I love creating depth on my cards, and so some things will be given some dimension with the foam squares, where other things will be adhered directly to the card front with liquid adhesive. Before the fairy pig is attached to the previous pig's back, I'm going to attach the wand to the arm with liquid adhesive. And so onto the cushion of flowers, and I'll start off with the 2 florals that are on the long curving stems, and they will frame either side of the tower of pigs. The second one is quite slender, so I'm cutting those foam squares in half. To avoid the foam squares sticking to the scissors blade, I keep them on the backing and then snip. Liquid adhesive was added to the base of the stems on both florals so that the dimension would sweep upwards. I'll then fill in with the flowers. Some of them will be popped up on foam squares and others will be adhered flat to the card with liquid adhesive. And after I have everything laid out again, I'll pop up the flowers that are sitting forefront on the card, and the ones that are sitting in the background will be adhered flat with the liquid adhesive. Using a combination of the adhesives gives greater depth to the overall scene. Once the bigger florals are in place at the base of the card, then I'll fill in with some smaller ones. I want lots of variety in the depths, so these small ones are being adhered and slipped under some of the dimensional ones using the liquid adhesive. Generally speaking, if I have a die cut sentiment, I lean towards popping it up. So I've used the coordinating dies to cut white sheet foam. The foam die cuts are left in place and liquid adhesive is applied to them, and then the cardstock ones are adhered. The foam will be slightly recessed where it is die cut, making it easy to align the other one to it. Before removing the excess foam, I set it aside to dry, and in the meantime, I'm going to add some dot detail with a quickie glue pen. This is a great product. When the nib is depressed on the cardstock, it leaves a little tiny droplet of glue. The adhesive is slower drying, so you have lots of time to get that glitter sprinkled on top. And then I go back and help fill it in, radiating it from the end of the wand, creating a sweet, sparkling effect. This card is finished up with pastel colored confetti. I like to lay out my embellishments first and then go back and adhere them to the card. Well, the adhesive is dry on the sentiments, so it's safe to pop them out of the excess foam without worrying about them slipping out of alignment. And I'll get those adhered to the card front, and then I can add the finishing touches. And when I say finishing touches, I'm usually referring to Nouveau Crystal Drops Morning Dew. I love that this clear drying medium transforms this confetti into something that looks like crystals. So I realize that the sparkle that is around the wand is difficult to see in photographs and in the video, which is unfortunate because in real life it's so cute. However, I'm taking my lead from this sparkle and I'm adding Nouveau Glitter Drops White Blizzard to both the star on the wand and the wings on the pig fairy. I'm not quite done yet. I'm reaching for the white Nouveau drops, and using my craft pick, I'm going to apply small tiny droplets on both sets of cheeks on each pig. Yes, on the face and on the behind. Using the end of the pick is a great way to control the size of the dots. If they go on too small, I just simply reapply it. Once this fun detail has been added to the pigs, then I'll add that dot detail to the center of the larger flowers. That completes card 1, and we're ready to move on to the second card, and we'll be creating a fun background using a gel printing plate. I'll start off by using a circle stencil to create a moon using squeezed lemonade. I'm going to be working with acrylic paints. First I've applied a dark blue, then a purple, followed by fuchsia. I was a little bit too generous with the paint, so I'm going to use my brayer to not only spread it, but pick up some of the excess, and I'll roll it off on paper towel. My circle stencil came with the negative die cut, which I'm going to use to mask the moon. I've applied Pixie Low Tack adhesive to the back of it. This spray adhesive was left for about a minute to dry. It will then be tacky and hold the mask in place. Then I can lay my panel on the gel plate and then use the brayer to apply pressure right across the entire panel, picking up that acrylic paint. I started off with a panel that was about the same size as the plate, 5 inches by 5 inches. After the panel is dry, I'm going to trim it down to 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. I want the moon centered on the width of the panel. So to avoid doing all of that math, I'm going to trim down the panel side by side, bit by bit, until I have it down to 4 inches and everything is centered. And trimming off the height's a little bit more straightforward. I'll just trim a bit off the top and then trim the bottom so that the panel measures 5 1/4 inches high. This card is going to feature the fairy pig waving her star wand with a super cute sentiment, squeaking by with a birthday high. And as I mentioned earlier, the coloring for all 3 cards is done with the same Copic colors. For this card, I'll be die cutting, of course, the stamped elements, but I'm also going to be die cutting everything from white sheet foam. Die cuts popped out from the foam, and so I'm going to pop those back in place before I adhere the cardstock ones to it. Because these die cuts are recessed in the foam, it really does make it super easy to adhere the cardstock die cuts to it. This little trick will ensure that the alignment is pretty close to perfect. I don't want anything to slip out of alignment, so I do give that adhesive time to dry, probably 5 to 10 minutes. When foam is involved, the drying time is certainly going to be a bit longer than if you were just adhering cardstock to cardstock. For the first card, when the fairy pig waved her wand, she left some sparkle magic. This time the wand will leave a spray of beautiful tiny stars. The Magic Stars die was used to cut silver glitter cardstock. These are tiny stars, so I'll be using the Quickie glue pen, so that leaves just that tiny dot of adhesive, which is the perfect size for these stars. And of course, I wouldn't be able to do this if I didn't have a jewel picker. Foam-backed elements and sentiment are adhered to the card. Once the fairy pig with her wand is in place, I'll add in a few more stars. Then the panel is adhered to an A2 size white card base. And not too much is needed to finish up this card. I'm going to add in some of the Nouveau Glitter Drops White Blizzard to the wings and to the star on the wand. Because the third card incorporates the postage stamp, stencil, and die, I'm not going to go step by step through this card. All the elements were completed the same way as these first two cards. I do have a video already using the postage stamp products, and so I'll provide a link to that so you can see how easily that comes together. That's a wrap on these cards featuring the sweet and adorable Hog Happy Day stamp and die sets. Be sure to hop along with us for great inspiration, and let's not forget there's a fabulous giveaway. The link to your next stop will be in the description of this video. Thank you so much for joining me, and as always, I appreciate your visit.